I guarantee that you've never been recommended the things that I'm going to talk about in this video in order to make your comics. And I also guarantee that they'll help because they've really helped me. For those who don't know, I'm John and I help comic creators complete their comics without burning out. The first weird thing on my list is an in tray. You may or may not get a lot of letters in the post. I don't get many, but that's not the reason I'm recommending this weird product. The purpose of this is to keep things in reach. If you're anything like me, you'll put something away in a drawer or cupboard and then forget that it's there. I've got drawers here and I don't even know what's in most of them. I own a scarf. Who knew? What you put in your in tray is entirely up to you. I'll put useful stuff in there like comic books or art books like this one. This is really good. Or sometimes I'll make notes, so it's good to have them where I'm actually going to read them. Or it's where I'll keep some of the other stuff that's on this list. This is one of those things that I got because I didn't feel like I was being productive enough and I wanted to see if it would actually help. And it's probably the main thing on this list that surprised me the most, which is why it's first. I think the most impactful things to buy that actually help are the things that take the pressure off you having to remember stuff. I find that I forget stuff quite a lot. So if I have stuff that is out in the open, but also organized, then there's more chance that I'm actually going to interact with it. They're cheap enough that if it doesn't work for you, then you can just re-gift it to someone at work or something. Now, the reason that I went for the unconventional stuff is partly to be a bit different, but also because I kind of assume that you know what you need to make comics. You need a pencil, pen, paper, and some paint. That's about it. I just wanted to point that out in case you were confused by anything on this list. There are no magic pens or magic pencils or magic paper that's going to make you a better comic artist. Anyway, back to it. I'm going to level with you. I freaking love sticky notes, but I never know what to write on them. So I started writing myself little messages and sticking them on my monitor. Sometimes it'll be a reminder to myself of something I need to do when I get back from work. So it might be to respond to an email or schedule a post or write an email newsletter. Or it could be a reminder to check out a comic that I was reading during lunch. And if it's not a reminder, I started to write myself really encouraging messages. I was really skeptical about this and it just seemed like productivity guru BS, but I'm open-minded enough to at least give it a try and see if it works. And it actually does. I also write my wife messages, which is nice. Also, I learned this from Ali Abdaal, who partially inspired this video in the first place. It's actually how to remove sticky notes. You don't remove them like that, because then they'll sort of stick up. See that? See that curve? Instead, you remove them like that. But I mean, seriously, look at that. Look at the difference. You see that the crease? That's the wrong way, that's the right way. There's no crease in that one. No? Just me? Okay, let's move on. Peel off whiteboard. I previously had a whiteboard that I, and definitely not my wife, hung up. I'm not allowed near hammers. Not after the bludgeoning. But it fell down and I didn't want to create even more holes in the wall because, well, we're renting. So I decided to try this peel-on magic whiteboard. And they are awesome. For similar reasons that I found the in tray so useful, I find it useful to write things down in places where I'm definitely going to notice it. And up on the wall is a pretty obvious place to write things down. All I need to do is just look to my left and everything that I need to do is right there. It's also pretty helpful for my wife because it keeps her in the loop and she can add things to it as well. Plus, and this might be a bit niche, but I take warfarin every day because I have a mechanical heart valve and the dosage changes depending on how thin or thick my blood is. So that's what those numbers are there, just in case anyone was curious. But that is to say that it's not just with comics that this stuff can help you. To actually use it, it's really simple. It basically works exactly like cling film. So you pull it off, try and tear it off. I say try because I couldn't do it, so I had to cut it off. But it's fine. And then you just slap it up on the wall. And then when you're done with it, you can just take it down or you can leave it up there. Like, this is how you take it down. Done. And if you need to put it back up, it's pretty cool, isn't it? You can just write on it. No? Am I really that old that I find that really cool?
No, it's the children who are wrong.
Fake plants. Personally, I prefer real plants to fake plants. I've never really understood why people would buy fake plants because what are they doing? But then after I killed my second real plant, I started to understand why. They don't do much, admittedly. There's nothing particularly special about them, but, well, that was dusty. They don't really do much. There's nothing magical or special about them, but they add a little bit of color to your environment. All my stuff is black or generally dark, and I sort of live in the corner of the room. So it's quite nice just to add a little bit of color to your environment. Just spend a couple of bucks on something that's cheap. You shouldn't be spending a huge amount of money on fake plants because it is effectively plastic. But it is nice to have. Notion. This is the only one on the list that you don't have to buy because it's free. Also, unlike the other entries on this list, this is the one that will probably have the most direct impact on your comic. Previous items are meant to make your environments just nicer to be in and more organized. Notion is there to do the same thing, but for your digital environment. Notion is great because it can do so many things, but that's also kind of its downside. Depending on the type of person you are, you'll either hate the idea of using it because it's too complicated and too technical, or you'll love the idea of using it, but you'll spend all your time creating tables and formulas and calendars and all that sort of stuff and not actually do anything productive. I was the first type, but I forced myself to learn the basics and I built a planner. And then I improved upon that and it houses just about everything that I have for my comic, all in one place. So I've got the script, the character references, the completed pages, a journal, and a reminder of the digital brushes and the font size and all that sort of stuff, because I forget all of that all the time. I think the planner I made is really good. I use it every day, and yes, I do absolutely recommend it, but only get it if you don't want to bother making one yourself. There's a link in the description. Now, with that said, I need to answer the burning question that has just appeared in your mind. Does this stuff actually help, or am I just trying to make you buy stuff? Which is a total fair question, and it's a question that I would have as well. For me, this stuff has legitimately helped, but it doesn't mean that it will for you. They won't make you magically super productive or make your comic better. Those things are still on you. They're your responsibility. But they will help you get to a more focused and relaxed state more quickly. That's kind of the purpose of them. At least that's the purpose that I use them. I never really used to care about the environment where I made my comics, and if I'm not careful, then it can get pretty messy and disorganized pretty quickly. And when my environment is messy, or I can't remember where I put certain things that I might need later, then I find it harder to concentrate and things tend to slow down. I'm not affiliated with any of the products that I've mentioned other than the planner, and that is the one thing on this list that's going to have the most direct impact on your comic. But the cheapest option for you is to make one yourself, because then you don't have to give me money. I'm not a very good salesperson, am I? Let me try that again. This planner will save your life. You rub it on your skin and you'll live forever. It'll make your hair grow. It'll make you sound smart. It'll keep your face from getting any uglier. It'll make you fly. Okay, that's enough SpongeBob references. I really hope that 2025 is awesome for you. It's a great time of year to get organized and reevaluate your goals. It's also a great time to pick up new habits, and in this video I show you how journaling made me a better comic creator in 2024. Picture of my daughter.